Hello, 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 hello. There you all
Welcome,
are.
everybody.
It's good to see you. Hello.
Welcome to the Sid City Social Club for Friday, April 16th. We're glad you're here. All right, over to Sid.
Thank you, Mel. Hi, everybody. Lovely to see you all. And hi, Mo. Haven't seen you for a long time. Big fat baby you are. It's not very often you get to be told that and feel it's a good thing. But you are as cute as a button. Big bag of cuteness. It's been snowing up here in New England. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the US and certainly the rest of the world. I'm expecting it to have stopped snowing by now. Horrible. Huge amounts as well. Didn't settle because the ground's really warm still because it was like 65 last week. And it'll be 65 tomorrow. Worse, something's going on. God's shuffling his feet again, I suspect. So we've got lots of birthdays, and all because I missed them nearly all of them because I missed them in March. So let's say hello and happy birthday to a few people.
All right, we're gonna go to Jenny first. Jenny's birthday was way back at the beginning of March. Happy birthday, Jenny.
Happy birthday, Jenny.
Thank you. Yes, 1st of March. So I just missed you.
You certainly did. And you didn't get an international birthday salute. Well, you're going to have one now, whether you like it or not. Well, please, let's say happy birthday to Jenny, even though it's a month late.
Happy birthday, Jenny!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy
Jenny!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
That's just one of those things that I will always remember, the happy birthdays. There's going to be a lot of them today, so everybody getting good voice. Where are you, Jenny?
I'm in Cambridge in the UK.
How's Cambridge treating you?
It's lovely. I mean, I live in the armpit of it, but even the rough bit of Cambridge is nicer than Stockport, which is where I was before. And I grew up in Hertfordshire, which was lovely, but not for me.
Because you've just lifted COVID thing. You've lifted your lockdown in the UK, haven't you?
It's lifting.
Lifting.
Yes, people are going for haircuts and things. I haven't yet. It's still not great. So people are still wearing masks and everything.
Yeah. I don't expect that to stop.
Most people are wearing masks.
Are you affiliated with Cambridge? Did you move there for a particular reason?
I came down here for work. So I went up to Manchester originally for university the first time round. Came down here from work. Now I can't work anymore because of chronic health issues.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other story.
Oh God.
But yes, I've stayed in Cambridge because it's lovely.
Right. And does that mean, is that a perpetual can't work anymore? Or
I don't know. It's mental health issues. I have depression and anxiety. And fatigue that goes along with it, and no one's really sure which causes which.
No one's really sure enough about any of it, are they?
No, and the psychiatrist and the GP and all the therapists all say, well, everyone gets better. And I'm like, do they though? Really? So I'm torn between doing the best I can to get as best as I can.
Yeah.
And trying to accept that I've done loads of things. I'm 47, so I've done loads of things in my life. Yeah. And maybe I just can't anymore.
No, you absolutely can. I will not.
I mean, having said that, I've got a degree, 2/3 of a master's since I've been off sick, but that's distance learning. So I can do it at 2 a.m. if that happens to be when I'm awake.
Of course. And how have you been over COVID generally?
Oh, it's no different. It's actually been better because all these online things have popped up. So my social anxiety and just inability to accept that anyone actually wants me around in person doesn't matter because I can drop onto Zoom.
Of course.
So I'm one of these people who's dreading the end of lockdown because all the online things are going to go away and I'm going to be stuck on my own again. So,
I don't think they will go away. I think we've discovered a whole new way of communicating, even for the next decade. I just don't see why we wouldn't have to go and see each other when we don't particularly want to. And it's very easy to go, well, you know what? I'll call you from home. We'll get together on Zoom,
Yeah.
and we'll get a couple of friends together, and we'll all meet, rather than wait for the day whenever it is, when everyone says they're free and they can actually get to the coffee shop or the bar or the restaurant, whatever. I mean, it's going to be lovely to go to the bar or the restaurant, whatever, when the time comes. But
I'm just so touch starved because I live on my own. Apart from cats, I haven't touched another human being since maybe January, and that's difficult. I didn't realize how much I need some face-to-face stuff.
Yeah, you do. You need
Yeah.
to be touched. Absolutely. We
Yes.
all do. We all do. I'm really lucky because I have my wife here.
Mm.
I am one of those very lucky people. So I don't have that sense of that longing. I don't want to be touched by her again. No, I don't. I do have, you know what I mean? I don't have that. So I just heard myself. I don't have that longing. It sounds really rude. But I'm sorry for you for that.
Thank you.
I think that's something
Yeah.
we can address. And you seem a bit confused about everybody's advice to you about your mental illnesses, whether they're depression or the anxiety or whatnot. Is that because you just don't buy it?
Well, I've lived on and off with it for years. It's lots of things caused it.
Yeah.
But nothing's going to change unless something changes. And I just don't see how I'm going to wake up one day and miraculously feel better.
Well, what about this master's that you're doing? What's that about?
It's maths. So my first degree was physics.
Fantastic.
Which I did abysmally, and I only got a 2-2 because I couldn't cope with living away from home. And Manchester is a very easy city to go party.
To have fun in.
Yes. And then back in 2013, mum's cancer came back, and I thought, right, I need something to distract myself. So I signed up with the Open University, and shout out to the OU because it's amazing. It's international. Anyone can sign up and just do modules.
It's fantastic. I can attest to that. I did it too.
Yeah. Oh, what did you do?
I did foreign affairs.
Yeah, I just signed up for one module and loved it so much I stuck with it and ended up with a first.
Congratulations! That's fantastic.
And now I'm doing a master's, and it just continues to be amazing.
That is astonishing. That's really terrific. And will you let everyone tell how is it still very reasonable? Because when I did the Open University very many years ago, probably in the 2 noughts, the torts, what are they called?
Naughties, I call them.
Naughties. I can't remember what it cost exactly, but it was something like £300-400, and
my goodness.
And that was, for books and things. What is it now?
It's all split into credits, so you need 120 credits a year. That's it. For a 60 credit module, it was about 3,500.
Oh God, that's a lot more expensive.
Because now we have to pay for tuition fees because
that's what's changed.
Government.
Of course, that's what's changed. So it's gone up tenfold.
Yes.
I mean, that's astonishing. Okay. I mean, I didn't have very much money in the noughties. And so I'm sure that I would have remembered, I would have bulked at £3,000, that's for sure. Yeah. I didn't finish it because I got Syriana, and I started working like so regularly that I couldn't correspond properly. It's meant to be that you can do it from anywhere, but you do have to meet your guy.
It's still a lot of work.
Yes, you get these essays done.
That's what I like about maths. If you can do it, then it's a half-hour job.
Wow. What's your love of maths? Whereabouts do you land them in the math?
Kind of two extremes. At the moment, I'm doing a pure maths module, which is not for me at all.
Right.
I love fluid dynamics. I did a module on that in 3rd year, so all about water flows and gas flows, and watching water go down a plug hole and figuring out exactly where each little molecule is going to end up. It's just magic.
Wow.
Fix things. And then the other thing I like is coding theory, which isn't so much the computing type of coding, it's the cryptography.
Right. Do you have a particular area that if someone was interested in looking at something to give them an understanding of cryptography, that would also be kind of fun to do? Where would you point them?
I'd actually point them at a Dorothy L. Sayers book. So she was writing crime novels in the 1930s. one of her books has a worked example, and she makes it absolutely entrancing reading. It's called Have His Carcass, and they walk through a Playfair cipher, decoding it, just having found a letter on a beach. And that made me think, that's what I want to learn about.
That's fantastic. See, that's what we want people here to read.
Yeah.
So they go, whoa, that's what I'd like to do too.
Yeah.
Wow. And how is it when, because normally when you do that sort of thing, you go, I love this and I'm going to do it properly, you know, in academia with proper people. It's incredibly disappointing because it's too dry, or it's some, are you enjoying it? Are you having really good fun with it?
Yes. I mean, I'm not in research yet. It's a taught masters rather than a research one, although I do have to do a dissertation next year, which is going to be actual words. But I think the dry side of it is fine because it's just sitting and playing with things. What's going to put me off, if anything does, would be the politics of academia.
Welcome to us, Jenny.
Thank you.
Pacifist Jenny.
Yeah.
Come and talk anytime. We'll be obviously a bit more sporadic for chats now, but we'll still do them, and we'll still keep them going.
So our next birthday person is Kat.
Hello.
Hello, Kat. Where are you?
I'm in like near Oxford. I'm just trying to turn my camera on. There you go.
There you are.
Hello.
You've got it. Hurrah! Well, first thing we've got. When was your birthday, Kat?
It was early in March 4th.
Well, you are. It is entirely my fault that no one in the world wished you a happy birthday. So everyone in the world is going to wish you one right now. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Birthday, Kat!
Happy
birthday from Ukraine!
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
That's fantastic. Of course, I was exaggerating when I said no one in the world. Said happy birthday. What kind of birthday did you have? Do you remember?
I mean, I had a small birthday party over Zoom, but it wasn't like a proper party, obviously, because we did like a few online games, but nothing big, no.
And have you been locked inside the whole time?
Yeah, I went back to school just before my birthday, actually, but we still have to social distance and wear masks and stuff.
How does it work? Because I mean, you know, everybody counts you in, and you all be as good as gold when you arrive, and you all go to class or whatever it is you're meant to be at, assembly or something. And the minute the teacher turns their back, are you all like ripping off your mask, giving each other hugs and stuff? I knew it.
Well,
what stages in the school world are you? Whereabouts are you?
I'm in year 9, so I've just started my GCSE courses.
Okay.
Yeah.
The real world has arrived at your doorstep.
Yep.
Because I even remember that until GCSE, you really don't have to achieve anything. I mean, you can just coast along because no one remembers the results of anything. But GCSEs, they remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And are you doing a whole bunch of subjects? What sort of range are you doing? Like doing 9 or 7 or something like that?
Well, I'm doing, I think 9 or 10. I think because so I'm doing like the 3 sciences, maths and English. I have to take a language, which is my least favorite, but then I'm doing dance and drama and
brilliant.
geography. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic! And what's your favorite thing to do?
I like English
not necessarily
and
at
drama.
school, everywhere.
I like reading a lot and watching TV because I'd quite like to be a director. So I like to pretend that watching TV is like training instead of just
It is.
TV.
It is training. You're absolutely right. It is training. I wanted to be a director. I was probably about your age. I was a bit older, maybe 2 years, when I thought that's what I want to do. And I used to draw pictures and, you know, try and make everything real for myself. At that time, it was all opera for me because that was kind of what I was listening to it. I saw it on stage and it was so remarkable. And I was like, my goodness. And you've got a 75-piece orchestra and, I would love to get involved in that. But then it became directing generally. What sort of directing do you want to do?
Maybe something like a movie or a TV series. I also kind of maybe like script writing or something, because I'm not sure how it would work, like directing something that's someone else has come up with. Like, that seems weird to me, but I'm not sure.
A lot of directors agree with you. They think that doing other people's stuff is weird, and they only want to do their own stuff. Have you written stuff already?
Nothing proper or good, not really, no.
I mean, no one writes anything proper or good. You've just got to get going.
Yeah, pretty much, I guess.
Oh, who's that?
Oh, that's just my mum. She was just giving me some water.
Hi, Mom. Well, I'll tell you, you have to read, which is really boring if you don't like reading. But you have to get your hands on as many books as you can find and read them. Because one thing that reading does, which is amazingly useful if you're going to be a director, is it stretches the bounds of your understanding of what other people think of as a plot and how they make it work and how they introduce characters and all of that sort of thing. So if you're ever interested in directing, which I think you should be, I think it's a brilliant thing to be interested in, you really got to be pretty good at text. That's your like Bible, and develop, and especially if you want to do film, because film, no one seems to take much notice of the script by the time it's being filmed. All the work on the script happens before, but if everybody had been involved in the development of the script earlier on, it would be a much more beautiful piece of work because everybody's opinion is so important. So what you're going to be as a director is going to be a collaborator in chief. You're going to learn how to make 50 people all pull the same way, all row at the same time, because that's basically, and then answer a lot of questions. All directors will tell you all they do is spend all day answering questions. Something, what color should this be? How long should that hair be? How long is this going to be? When should we switch that off? Can we take this out? All day, and it's exhausting. I directed a few plays, and I highly recommend you start there if you can get that going. Because do you have plays at school?
Yeah, we do kind of like a big production every year.
And do you have little productions that you could perhaps direct?
I mean, we do that in drama class a lot. It's mostly like devising at the moment, so we do that.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty great. Yeah. I think I did a play called The Island of Baron Bolligrew, and it's a children's book or children's play, and that was my first thing I got to direct when I was probably 14. I might have been 15, and I just loved it. I thought it was great. But then someone told me I had to read a lot. And you know what? I didn't. And then maybe when I got to about 17 or 18, I started to read a lot. But by that time, I'd lost 3 years of reading, which I could have had under my belt. So that's my challenge to you.
Yeah.
How has your family been all the way through all this COVID horror?
The house is quite quiet, but we got a dog, which is nice. She's here, but.
Oh, fantastic! What kind? What make?
She's a Pomeranian, so very small and fluffy.
Oh my goodness, too adorable. And do you get to walk her?
Yeah, I do. Luckily, we live near like some fields, so she gets to walk around.
Oh, brilliant. Is she like a lot of small dogs that just refuse to do anything when it's cold?
Yeah, she refuses to do exercise in general. She tries to walk towards the house whenever walking is a challenge. You know, she like pulls on the lead.
Is that because everybody picks her up and doesn't make it work? Her life's doesn't have to. We'll
yeah,
pick you
pretty
up.
much.
Well, they're lovely, sweet dogs. What have you called her?
Her name's Bella.
Oh, so you say you're already back at school. You're on break. Are you on break now?
Yeah, it's Easter break at the moment. I go back to school on Monday.
Okay. Oh, ouch. So we won't be seeing you on Fridays. We probably won't be seeing you on Fridays anymore while you're at school.
No, because it's 8 p.m. This meeting's at 8 p.m. in the UK.
Of course. So you can put us on like a radio in the background while you're doing your homework. Fantastic. Tell me, how do you watch Star Trek? What's that? What is that? Because I can't ignore the sweater you're wearing.
Thanks. Well, my dad introduced me to it because obviously he watched Star Trek as a kid. So he was like, you know, you might want to watch this. And I didn't actually like it for about the first 3 seasons of The Next Generation, but then I started liking it. And And now, we're currently on Voyager because we finished DS9 like a couple months ago. So we're working our way through.
So that would tell me that if you didn't like it from the first 3 seasons, Star Trek might not be the right thing for a 10-year-old, but might be perfect for a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything you'd like to ask me? Is there anything like you have that I will, because I'll move on, and you're like, damn, I didn't say that. I wanted to say that thing.
Like, do you have any tips for just doing an accent in general? Because I'm just completely stuck.
They're difficult. They're difficult, mainly because accents are really about listening. And you've got to do a lot of listening. I know that sounds kind of a bit obvious, but it's actually just listening, and really listening. And when you listen to something and you can sing along to a song, it's the same thing with accents. You say the words that the person's saying, even though you don't know what they're about to say, but you can copy them literally a second afterwards. Trying to copy it's not so much the sound of the way they say each particular word. It's the rhythm of the whole sentence. It's like the music of the whole sentence. And that's how you sell accents. Each word by itself, pretty meaningless, although there are some obvious errors you can make. But if you get the music of an accent right, then you're in good shape. Because you know how all accents have different music to them. That's the Welsh have this lovely musical sound to their accent. Or you could talk to Colin, who's in here, who does a very good Russian accent, I'm told. Colin.
I do, of course I do. Anything you need.
Don't talk to Colin. But I would listen for the music more than anything else. That's what I would do, Kat.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, welcome. You're very welcome. It's lovely talking to you. I hope we see you back here. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Kat. Happy birthday. Okay, our next birthday victim, is Ray.
Hello, Ray. Is that you in the pyramids? Oh my goodness, how beautiful.
I call that the camel gave me vertigo. That's what that photograph is called. Because it was a production to get up on the camel.
Oh, yeah.
At first, because I'm really short. And so the camel was sitting down and people tried to give me a boost and it didn't work. I got up on a wall and then I finally got onto the camel and it stood up and everything started spinning. And I had to get off. I was so angry.
Did you get off immediately?
I tried. Like it took a couple of steps, but I couldn't. Like really, everything was spinning.
It was too much. It was too much. Well, you have a photo to prove otherwise.
Right.
That's the beauty of that. No, I was riding all day. I was born on camels.
Right.
And when were you there?
It was 2005.
Oh, yeah.
I have a friend who I met in college, and she, after doing wonderful things in the Peace Corps all over the world, ended up in Egypt. And she said, hey, come visit. And I was in grad school and I got to go for an entire month.
Oh my goodness.
In Egypt.
That is fantastic. And you went, no offense to any Egyptians here, but you went at the right time.
Yeah, she met her husband there and they left just before the Arab Spring kicked off.
So tell me, what were you studying in college and why?
Oh boy. So I had done, for undergrad, I did a double degree in English and in economics because my mother said, you need a degree that will get you a job.
I understand that thinking.
So I had to do something and I picked economics, which I hated. And
I did the same thing, by the way. I had a huge love for English literature and I was pretty good at it. And I did geography and anthropology. I didn't know what anthropology was. Sounded good. And geography seemed like a science. And I got a B in A level and I thought, well, I might as well do that. Terrible mistake. So I gather you're not an economist now.
No, absolutely not. I am the one profession that my parents did not want me to pursue because they were both teachers and now, and they were like, that's the one thing, do anything else. just don't be a teacher. And then I became a teacher, and I blame them because I was like, you did it to me. Like,
Of course. Who would in their right minds tell someone not to be a teacher? I know, only a teacher.
right.
Only another teacher would do that.
And right now I'm teaching high school.
And you teaching literature?
I am. I'm teaching literature, and I don't like to say teaching creative writing. I sort of facilitate creative writing.
I think that's a very fair description. Yes. Yes. Facilitating is about all we can ask of people to do, to help us do that. That's a terrific idea. Have you talked to some of the guys in the club? Because there's a bunch of writers here, some really talented ones.
Yeah, I'm what they call a lurker. I very rarely like reach out, but I've never missed a meeting. I've been here from the very beginning, and I've never
my
missed
goodness.
So I feel like I know everybody.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah. What book what would you say to someone like Kat, who we've just been talking to, who's going to have a brilliant career as a director, if she wants, and who knows that reading is one of the keys to getting into that world, certainly creative world, the world of language.
I think if you want to be director, this isn't the easiest thing, but Shakespeare is the way to go, right?
Shakespeare is pretty wonderful, yeah.
Break down Shakespeare.
It's pretty good. It's absolutely true. It is pretty hard to do, but it is pretty wonderful. And I'm sure she does a bit of that at school. Do you teach Shakespeare?
I do. So Hamlet is my life. I love Hamlet. Like, I'm obsessed with Hamlet. I don't know if you can see behind me. This is my wall of love. Oh, dear.
I see Yorick up there.
So it's what's called a lithograph. So the purple are the words of Hamlet. And it creates the shape. And then up at the top, I don't know if you can see, but like Ophelia's floating on the top and the flowers coming down.
Oh yeah, beautiful, wonderful. Yeah, I think Shakespeare is going to be very hard. You can't read Shakespeare alone. You need someone to walk you through it, and you need someone who lights it up, and because then otherwise it's just, these words are all in the wrong order. It's really difficult. But I completely agree. Shakespeare is an aspiration, and hopefully Kat has a great teacher who just lights up the text for her. I had a teacher who lit up the text we were doing with Winter's Tale, and he just made it real. And I was just like, whoa. Because once you can see it, you can hear it. That's the funny thing about Shakespeare. The minute you can visualize it, you hear it. And that's the kind of weird backwards way of getting into Shakespeare. What country are you in, by the way, Ray?
Currently, I'm in Miami, which is not a country, but Miami.
It isn't.
So I left Trinidad when I was 18 to go to university. And I went to university in New York, and I was there for 10 years, not at university. I did.
Yes, well, okay. You didn't do so well.
It was very cold, and I'm an island girl, and I need to be near the ocean. Yeah. So I moved to Miami for grad school. I had my choice between going to DC and coming.
Of course. And do you have a yearning to head back to Trinidad?
The plan was to go to university and then go back immediately, but it didn't happen. So now I go back every year, except when we have a pandemic, to go back.
How is your dad? Is he all right?
He was until Tuesday. He actually, this is so weird. He had a stroke. He's like the most charming person, and he is a trooper no matter what, but he is also very stuck in his ways, right?
What is it that you share?
So my father is the philosopher, and my mother is the fantasist. So she was into novels, and my father was very much into religious texts and those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
as bedtime stories, he'd read me like the Mahabharata and,
Wow.
things like that, or Ovid's Metamorphoses, like things that children should listen to before bed.
Of course.
The Lord of the Rings. Mel would love that.
I think that's wonderful, though. I always read the complete works of H.G. Wells when I was, small enough to be in bed and be told these read stories. In fact, by my stepfather. I mean, that's how he introduced himself to me. He was like, I will read to him every night, and that's what he did. And that was the gift of English language too, the gift of literature, more than the English language, because goodness knows so many wonderful countries, languages have great literature. I mean, has he got help? Is he by himself?
So he remarried. They got divorced.
Great. Okay.
So yes, he does have help. And my stepmother, I think she saved his life. This is, in Trinidad, there's medicine and then there's medicine, like, what the grandmothers tell you to do.
Yeah.
And he was completely unresponsive, and she put a nutmeg under his tongue, and he woke up and had the full use of his left side.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know if that's a coincidence.
Well, there's going to be a run on nutmeg now.
Right?
That's astonishing. Do you love cricket?
Yes, we do. And my father is an avid cricket fan. And I could sort of follow, but I can't pretend that,
See, I would sit and talk for hours with your father. We'd watch a cricket match, never look at each other, and chat away for hours and hours and hours. I used to take a newspaper. That's what I love about cricket. You can do other stuff.
Yeah.
You can really enjoy a day and just let the cricketers entertain you.
I think the two of you would get along because he is never without his newspaper. And, he would have it on the radio.
Yeah, I have it on my radio.
Yeah.
Well, and what are you going to do next? So obviously Miami's open. You back at school?
I'm sort of like Jenny. I'm dreading when we're back out in full force because I'm very much an introvert and I'm very happy to never see a person ever.
Yeah.
But that's not true.
But a lot of people agree with you.
About 2/3 of our students have chosen to stay online. And so we do dual modality where I teach both online and in person.
Interesting. In the same time frame.
Yeah.
What's the deal there? I mean, I understand teachers being very nervous about going back with a bunch of little super spreaders. And I totally understand children should have the choice one way or the other if they want to go to school or not go to school. But why was there conflict there? What was that? Where was the root of that?
The biggest issue, I think, was parents needed to get back out to work and they needed somewhere for their kids to go. Understand that. So even though I was very nervous going back to school, I did understand that it was necessary. I think the other issue is a lot of people were just really concerned about the dip in education that would happen. That has happened, but I spend more time just... Some days we won't do anything academic. We just talk about what's going on, what's on your mind, what do you need to talk about, what are you concerned about?
I mean, it's also astonishing just how much kids learn off each other. And if they're not around each other, that avenue of education is closed off to them. Because they interpret stuff that the teachers say in a way that other kids understand, and it suddenly becomes kind of they walk the walk of the teachers have to do the talk, if you like.
The hardest thing for kids right now, they aren't socializing the way that they would. And I think it's really difficult for them, I actually, since we're talking about kids and their well-being, I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
Like, one of the things that I admire most about you is just that you have this breadth of knowledge about the world and things, and it's not just breadth. I think it goes deep because it's been a year and there is not one topic that anyone can bring up that you can't speak intelligently about.
Oh, I lie a lot.
Well, that's an art too, but I think
that's very kind of you. Thank you.
I think a lot of that comes down to you're just curious about stuff, and that's
that I am curious.
So my question to you is, do you have any advice for how to encourage that curiosity in young people.
I think kids emulate us. They don't really hear what we're saying, and they hear how we say it, and they absorb our energy. I don't want to get into sort of Gnostic stuff, but you know, that aura, that kind of woof you come in the room with. That's kind of when I remember the teachers that I went, oh, I'm going to do that. It's because I was kind of shown how, without actually being practically demonstrated, having it practically demonstrated for me, because of the kind of the follow through, the physical. Do you know what I mean? There's that the way you say something, the way, the flourish, it's that kind of thing that really I think kids absorb, because they're always looking for role models. They just won't say it. they're
True.
always looking for something to copy because we haven't got a better plan. So that would be my guess. I don't know, but I'd certainly glommed onto teachers I thought and they weren't always nice. Some of them were really cruel, but I got it. I understood.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
This year I've taken to, like, at the beginning of the year or at the beginning of the pandemic, where everything, you could take a virtual tour of museums or whatever, and so I just throw out links to them and say, go, look at the world, find some stuff, and come back and tell us about it, or
Great. And that speaks to them on so many levels, because they love following trails on links. They love going down link rabbit holes. Where will this
go? Watching sushi videos on YouTube.
Exactly. That is morphed now. I am now watching carvers, not carvers, but carpenters making tabletops out of tree trunks with poured resin. So that's my latest thing. So I'm watching woodwork videos crazily now. Lathe work. My gosh, I love lathe work.
I was thinking yesterday, because yesterday I was watching something where there's a company that goes and harvests redwoods that have fallen naturally.
Yeah.
And will slice them up. So then you have like live edge,
huge
and
beautiful. Yeah, because we're going to have to buy a house one day, and so we dream, so I want wood kitchen countertops so that I don't have to use chopping boards all the time, and I just want to oil them down to keep them alive and happy, and so we have these sort of like dream sessions downstairs while we're watching TV about what kind of kitchen we might have, or stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm into woodwork.
I've got another question for you. You're just bringing the topics up to me. I love this. So trees, like, I'm obsessed with trees. I don't know if you can see, like, they're trees.
They're beautiful, yeah.
But you once, I forget where I heard you say this, but you said something like you believe trees talk to us. And I think it was at the Bardo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously I think they discuss. You can have a kind of fairly intelligent, not an intelligent conversation, but you can have a conversation with a tree. Partly because they give you such shelter. If you sit under a tree, it's so comforting. It's such a place to be, that you feel enveloped by them. I mean, it's a bit like the Ents in that in the Lord of the Rings. In Tolkien, I don't know where the Ents came in. I think it was Tolkien. Yeah. That whole completely engrossing kind of, she'll bring you up and that ancientness is something I respect. So I don't know if I've actually talked to a tree, or no, I have. I don't know if a tree's ever talked back. I'm pretty sure a tree hasn't, but I get the sense that they have. And it's much better than looking at a mirror and talking to that, or any of those things. Yeah. So I think, yes, they're just majestic, aren't they?
They are. I've been fascinated by trees all my life. When I lived in New York, I missed them so much that I would draw them as people.
Oh, yes.
And so it was kind of the idea of the Ents, but I felt like that there are spirits in trees, and I'm not
absolutely. Anyway, Ray, it's been a lovely talking to you. Thank you for plucking up the courage.
It has been wonderful, Sid. I was so terrified to do this. I'm really glad I did.
Good. Me too. Oh, and we have to wish you happy birthday. I don't think we have.
yay.
Can we wish Ray a happy birthday, please?
Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Birthday. So lovely. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. What a fascinating conversation. That's awesome.
All over the place, didn't we?
Yes. Worth the wait. All right, CJ, you are up next.
Hello.
Hello, CJ. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm glad another one that finally plucked up the courage to say hello.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Really fantastic. We've talked in passing, haven't we? We've talked a little bit.
I don't think so. I'm actually one of the people that usually keeps their camera off, but I did.
So where on earth are you?
I'm in Connecticut.
Oh, wow. You're around the corner from me.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. How's the whole COVID experience been for you? Because we've never heard from you.
I have obsessive compulsive disorder, which a lot of people here know. And so the beginning of this pandemic was terrible. Absolutely. Like couldn't even leave my bedroom for a while on certain days. And then I got some treatment, got better. And I think with the pandemic and listening to the stories on this club really helped me learn, along with the treatment, was to stop thinking of my life as so rigid. Yeah. So I'm going back to school in the fall and I'm really excited.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What have you chosen to do?
Computer science with a concentration in information systems, which is something I never could have seen myself doing even 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm really
astonishing.
Excited.
CJ,
So
you're
I'm
brilliant.
Really happy.
You know, the good, what you've done is what everybody should do to a degree. And that is you've decided when you're good and ready to go and learn about something. Because most of us don't have a choice. It's like, hey, go and learn this. And we're like, no, I don't feel like it. Well, you have to. All right, I'll learn it then. And that's so not the way to teach people stuff.
No, it really isn't.
It's much better to go, you know, I really want to do this. And they go, well, come and learn. And they go, yeah, I'll come and learn. And that's how you have to go to school every day.
Yes.
I just think that's fantastic. I think that's really great. Someone's getting it right. I hope that works out really well too.
I hope so too.
Tremendous. What made you change your mind? What made you turn the corner?
Well, like I said, I mean, as far this pandemic and just listening to people's stories on here and how like twisted lives can go. You think you're going to be doing one thing, you do something entirely different. You know, it's just back and forth. It's tough. It's really tough. Like Jenny was talking about earlier, mental illness is just hard. And I didn't get diagnosed till like 3 years ago. So last time I was in school, I got my associates 10 years ago and I don't even know how I did it. Like my brain was total Swiss cheese.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah. Well, so it's like totally relearning how to learn.
You appear to be doing very well with it. I mean, you appear to be not beaten under at all. I mean, there's no pressure on people to feel that they need to be amazing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Thank you. Yeah. It's
really cool.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about that.
So
but
yes, go on.
I just wanted to mention that I was really excited when Colin did that game show.
Yeah.
To hear you talk about Star Wars, seeing it in the movie theater. I can't wait to go back to the movies, like in the movie theater. And I always love hearing other people, because I worked for longer than anyone should at movie theaters, including as a projectionist, and it's just,
oh my goodness, wonderful.
It was really fun. So it's just such an experience to go to the movies. And I used to watch, I'm not kidding, 1 to 5 movies a week.
Wow.
In theaters. And since the pandemic started, I haven't been able to. I've hardly watched anything. I just can't make the switch to my house.
Yeah, it sucks. That does suck. I remember it really well. I remember going to the theater in a little town in England called East Grinstead, which is near where I went to school. And I would be allowed out for I lived at school, and my parents were allowed to come and see me twice in the 3 months for that term, And we were allowed to go
Yeah.
home twice. So we got to see our parents 4 times. And on this particular occasion, they could come and get me on a Sunday morning, take me to the movies, and drop me back at home, back at school again. And I just saw that the first words come up in that crazy, massive perspective that just broadened and broadened over my head. And then it was followed by this big dark shadow, and it was just, my mouth just dropped open, my heart stopped beating. I had never seen anything like that before. Boom, really happy. It was one of the biggest, I mean, must have been a life-changing experience. You know, you got to point to these things at some point. That had to be, it must have made me think nearly everything's possible. If I can see
one of my favorite experiences when I was working at the movie theater was Jurassic Park came out in 3D at that time. I was a huge fan of John Williams soundtracks. So anytime I could get into that theater, you know, after when the credits were running and you hear it on the surround sound, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was just the experience. The way you talked about it, I was like, someone else who gets it, because some people are like, why are you watch it on Netflix? I'm like, but it's the theater. Like it's the sound and everything. It's just awesome.
So amazing about being in a room with a bunch of people you can't see. And the lights go down, but you know their presence is here. They're all here.
Yes.
But the fact that you can't see them makes it okay. If I could see them, I wouldn't be really happy. I would be really uncomfortable. But I can sense their emotion as the movie changes. It makes a really important group experience. So
it does.
That will have to continue. I don't think anything will ever stop. That won't stop. It's like theatre. They used to think theatre was dead, and it just evolves. It changes. It figures out a way. Gets back on its feet and walks. You said you couldn't leave your room. You were struck by it. So you were struck so fiercely by it. Yeah. How did that manifest itself?
Well, it's because my OCD tends to present in themes. Like when I was much younger, that unfortunately no one caught at the time, but such is life, was religiosity, where I had a bunch of compulsions around religion. And then as I got older, in my 20s, the major theme of the OCD was fear of getting other people sick. So literally 2019, I got diagnosed. I did a bunch of work to, get myself up to speed where I could touch door handles, things like that, without worrying that I would get myself sick and then get someone else sick, because I got sick. And then this happened, and it just like the train going off the tracks. So for a brief period of time, I was just terrified of the germs people might be carrying around on their feet. And I would like switch shoes when I went into my own room, or I didn't even want to leave my own room because of that. Right. And it's interesting. I don't know if you paid any attention to, like, the New York Times did a few articles on this. Some people with OCD did very, very well with the pandemic because the treatment is to learn to live with uncertainty. And that's what we all had to do. It was like a giant, they call it an exposure. It was like an exposure for the planet where we all had to learn to live with the level of uncertainty that those of us who have OCD have been living with forever. But Absolutely. For some of us, I was living my own personal nightmare. So it was like, oh, you mean there's an illness I can get that I don't know I have? I could kill someone? Oh my gosh. So, it was crazy. It was really pretty wild, but I got it under control. And because of that, and like I said before, because of the things that I encountered this year, this club, just the experience of losing my job and having everything change so much, I was like, I can go back to school. Like, things are not as rigid as I thought they were.
That's fantastic, CJ. That's really, really great. I don't think we've wished you happy birthday. Do you mind if we do? Just spring it on you?
That's fine. Of course.
Can everybody please wish happy birthday to CJ?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Your birthday was just 3 weeks ago?
It was middle of March, March 16th.
Middle of March, yeah. So about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
How did you treat yourself?
I went to Starbucks.
That's great.
It's a great pandemic. Starbucks drive-through is the big treat.
I did the same thing when I came back from Estonia. I went to Starbucks for the first time since, for the whole time, because there was a drive-through. I think, I feel like a chai tea latte. So are you planning anything for school? Were you about to just say something there?
Well, as far as planning anything for school, I mean, I've got the whole schedule out for the fall. I probably part of OCD. I like to have ducks in a row.
I kind of guessed that.
The
moment you said schedule, I reckon you probably committed that to some part of your brain that handles that kind of information.
Really quick question, but someone mentioned that you wrote a screenplay about Gordon, and I was really curious about like what period of his life, because I just read about him for the first time last year and was like, how did I not know about this Lawrence of Arabia type person? This sounds so cool.
He was the proto Lawrence of Arabia. He was Lawrence of Arabia before Lawrence of Arabia.
Yes, that was the impression I got.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I wrote a very poor script back in probably the 80s. I mean, I wanted my uncle, in my dream would have been have Malcolm play Gordon, and because they're very similar.
Okay.
Fierce blue eyes, and a kind of fixed attitude about life and how to get through it, and nothing's going to sway them, and they get stuff done. That kind of attitude, which is so not me. Well, listen, CJ, I am so glad you crept out from under the woodwork to come and talk to me. It's fantastic. Good luck.
I am too. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, CJ. All right, our last birthday person for today is Sophie.
Hello.
Sophie. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Very good indeed, thank you. I don't think we've talked before either.
No, we haven't. I'm a little scaredy cat. So.
Fantastic. That's really brilliant. Well, you've got a lot to be scared of, because this is going to be pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
You wait and see. Where are you?
I am in London.
Oh, wow. How is it there?
It's okay. I mean, I don't really leave the house all that much, so I haven't really seen like how busy things are. I mean, things are starting to open up again now from this week.
Yeah.
Which isn't great. Like, I still think it's too early, but
yeah. Are you living alone or with family?
No, I have a flatmate.
Okay. And you've been stuck together the whole Wow. That came out of nowhere. I bet you didn't envision that. I'm hoping you were going to say, luckily we get on.
Yeah, we do. we're very similar people, so it's been okay.
But how does that work? Because you not in your wildest dreams would you anticipate being under house arrest with someone relatively random for 16 months now, something like that.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, we are very similar people in that we're both quite introverted anyway. We both kind of like staying inside, so it hasn't been too much of a drastic change for us.
Right.
But we've both been working from home the whole time as well, which has been kind of interesting, just having our two different jobs happening in the same living room, which has been
wow.
Weird,
that is pretty crazy. But there's the fact that you have no choice is what makes it interesting to me. Because even if you are both similar, fairly introverted, quite happy staying at home, love the kind of no pressure life you give each other, but you have no choice. You cannot leave each other.
Yeah.
you can't go. You can't do something else. Did that make you closer? Do you laugh about that? Is that something?
I think it did. I mean, I think we've both kind of slowly been losing our minds together, which is definitely a bonding experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she hasn't killed me in my sleep yet, so
that's fantastic.
That's a bonus.
That's a bonus. Let's look on the bright side, eh?
Exactly.
And so what do you do to have fun?
Mostly I consume stories. That's my favorite thing to do. So whether it's movies, TV, theater, books, fan fiction, anything, just stories are just what brings me joy.
So you love being read to, basically, on a sort of figurative level.
Exactly. I mean, I feel like stories are it's kind of how we connect to not only the rest of the world, but also, I guess, to ourselves.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
A good story can kind of force you to, I don't know, I guess deal with feelings that you weren't really, not ready to, but weren't really trying to
Yeah.
before. I
Absolutely.
love
That's
stories.
really eloquent. I think that's exactly right. I think stories coax us to deal with things without slapping us in the face with them.
Exactly.
And reality does just have a horrible habit of slapping us in the face with itself all the time. Hello, I'm reality. Hello, I'm reality.
Yeah.
And stories at least can coax you, because you're always a volunteer. You can always go, you know, this sucks, I'm out.
Yeah.
So they have to keep you there, and they can only do that with you believing that they're honest with you.
Exactly.
I love art for the reason, about to expound on art, but I have a great friend of mine who's a physicist mathematician. We get together and we talk late into the night, and we always come to the same conclusion that art and science are basically trying to achieve the same thing, and that is basically distill what the truth is about the world. So they should be embraced, one in each arm, and held really close.
Definitely, I completely agree.
What did you do for? Because you don't mind me saying, a youngster. So what did you do? What did you learn? What's your thing?
I work in payroll, so I just kind of fell into that. It was sort of an accident. I was like, well, I'll do something. It will pay the bills, but.
Yeah. So and do you get to work in payroll from home?
Yeah, so I've been working from home since just before everything started, because we were already kind of set up for it anyway. So we were like, okay, like, things are not looking so great, so we'll start a few weeks ahead and see if anything comes of it. And yeah, I've been working from home since pretty much the beginning of last March.
Yeah. How did you find us?
Yeah. I actually watched Deep Space Nine for the first time last year. I've always been a Star Trek fan. Like, I loved it since I was a kid. I used to watch The Next Generation with my dad.
Yeah.
But because most of my exposure to Star Trek as a kid was from my dad, he didn't really watch Deep Space Nine, so I didn't really get to see it back then. And I ended up watching all 7 seasons in like 2 months.
Oh my goodness, you must have been comatose.
I just couldn't stop. It was so good. And
bleary-eyed.
Yeah. And so I ended up finding you guys on Twitter, and it took me a while to kind of come in here, because I was like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really deal all that well with the pandemic and everything last year. My brain kind of took the whole self-isolation thing a little bit too literally.
A lot of us did.
Yeah. And so my brain was like, right, that's it, no more people. Like, I'm not gonna connect with any other human beings, don't want to do it, I just want to be by myself all the time. Yeah. Which I didn't really realize how much that had been affecting me until I started coming here in November.
Interesting.
And then the more I started coming here, the more I've actually wanted to connect with other human beings again, which has been really lovely.
Good. That's really good. Isn't it? It's funny because you said that, and it just made me think, because I'm like that too. If you give me an excuse to shut myself away, I'll take that excuse. It's like, yeah, sure. It's going to suit me just fine. I mean, I can just be myself, by myself somewhere without anyone judging me, without anybody telling me what kind of person I need to be. But I completely understand. It's a comfort zone. So I think that's really, really good, really healthy that you going, I don't really need to do that quite so intensely. It's really good to it's actually not as scary at all. And it's a much richer life. That's really what it's about. I think everybody has enriched my life here. And I think we've all enriched each other's lives the same way. So you haven't seen your parents for a long time?
No, well, I saw my dad briefly on my birthday. So I got to have a little social distance hangout. Yeah, so that was nice. But I haven't really seen my mom since September, October.
Oh my goodness.
We catch up whenever we can, but I mean, I don't really live that far away from them either. I'm about maybe like a half-hour drive from them.
I don't think we've wished you happy birthday, because I think that would be the polite thing to do. Can we do that? Do you mind?
Sure.
Happy birthday from this part of the world.
Happy birthday.
So what I want to know is if everything changed tomorrow, and you've got choices, and like the world is your oyster, what would be one of the first things you would like to do? Are you missing touches? Are you missing what is it that what gaps do you have that need like sorting out?
I think the first thing that comes to mind, I really miss the theatre. I used to go to the theatre at least once a month. I was actually supposed to go to the theatre right before everything shut down, which was for my favorite play because it was having its final performance on Broadway. I landed in New York. About 10 minutes after I landed, Broadway got shut down.
Oh, goodness.
So that was fun. That was the start of my pandemic.
Oh, my goodness. And you were in New York, too, which was kind of crazy off the charts. Gosh. And what was the play?
The Inheritance.
Oh, okay. I mean, given the fact that those shows, the big shows, cost tens of thousands of dollars a day to put on, it's incredibly hard to fill out. You can't fill an auditorium. So you're going, well, how do you do this mathematically? You just can't, payroll. It's payroll. It's your expertise. This is your area.
Exactly.
Over to Sophie. How do we sort this out? Well, I'm hoping it gets back because it's I think that's like cinema in theatres. It's one of the most important things we do together. Well, I'm very, very happy that you plucked up the courage, Sophie, to come and talk.
I'm happy to.
It's really great, and I think you're going to have a fabulous year. I'm hoping it's all going to work out just fine. I don't think it's going to. I think you've got the right realistic attitude. You've got, it's not going to open tomorrow.
Yeah.
You seem very relaxed with this living situation.
Yeah, I'm fine with this. I can stay at home forever. It's all good.
Nice one, Sophie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Happy birthday.
Okay, our last guest for today. It's a twofer. We've got sisters Sarah and
Hurrah!
Yay! Hi. Hi.
Hello. Good to see you both.
Yeah, I am so excited because this is my third time ever being here.
At all.
So at all. So this is kind of like my introduction.
Wow.
To, like everybody minus two people in here, literally.
That's fantastic. Well, it's lovely to meet you both. Can you tell us your names?
So I'm Sarah.
I'm Sylvia.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's really great. Lovely. And
if you get confused, it's normal.
Has that,
Our parents get confused.
You do look very similar, but I don't think I'll get confused. I don't think so. Where are you?
Italy.
Oh my goodness, wonderful. Milan is the inspiration for this whole thing. I
don't know the full lore. Okay, I'm still catching up.
Remember you guys, you were the first people to get hit really hard in Europe. You shut down, and I mean you're near Milan, but in Milan, and everybody stayed inside. And after a couple of weeks of this misery, everybody who could give anything like a song or play an instrument would get on their roof or their balcony and sing or play an instrument for free because the artists all said, we have nothing to do. And that happened in Milan. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I remember talking to Mel and going, what can we do like that?
That is so cool because Milan is such a, from experience, it can be such a drab city. So it's cool that the one interesting thing that happened in Milan. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Interesting thing that happened. Where do you go for when you last went on a vacation? Where, because everybody would love to go to Italy on a vacation. Where do Italians go?
I think it was London actually. Yeah. So there's a company, there's a contemporary dance company that's called New Adventures, and they mainly operate in the UK. She's really into classical ballet and contemporary stuff. I'm usually not, but we love this company, and so once or twice a year we would go. And obviously we can't do that because of the pandemic now.
So we usually spend the weekend there. Just
I think it was there.
Go to London, see the show, and then come back to Italy.
Yeah.
Wow. And why is your English so good?
I cannot, I don't know. I can't answer that.
It's not a fair question.
I guess we learned it by, I don't know, listening to music and
reading books.
Yeah, and
reading fan fictions.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm an English teacher and I never studied English at school.
Yeah, same.
I teach English in middle school.
Like,
I actually taught English in university for a very short period of time in Japan. I have a degree in Japanese language and culture. And I went there to study, and they made me teach some Italian and some English there as a lecturer. And so, yeah, but I've never studied English in my life.
Like they have a very outdated method for teaching language in general in Italy.
Yeah,
and it's not good.
I know something about that.
You either learn it on your own or you don't. Really.
Wow, it's just astonishing. So okay, so Sylvia, you're a teacher.
Yep.
And Sarah, you are how do you describe yourself? What do you like?
It's sort of okay. I'm sort of nothing at the moment.
So me too, normally.
I was a teacher too for about a year. I taught in primary school, and then I actually taught in her same secondary school. Like
we were colleagues.
Yeah, we were colleagues for like a month.
Yeah.
I studied sociology, and then I took a master's in gender and media in Brighton for a year. So that's not really my field, but that's kind of what I ended up doing.
What is your field? How would you describe your field? What are you excited by? It doesn't have to be academic.
Yeah, it is academic for me, but I'm really excited about fandom. So fandom studies is something that I'm really very, I always get excited about. And also like gender studies, and that's why I went into gender and media.
Have you read some of the articles that float around in the club?
Yeah.
And we also have Gail Stever, who writes on about fan psychology.
I've read so many things, honestly, like from all over, but like this one was the most. Yeah, it's like when you're in gender and media and you're also like interested in fandom, like you end up reading so much stuff.
You can chow down
so much.
So much.
No. But that one, like that was the last one I read, and it was like from somebody in the social club, and it was amazing.
And is there anything that's like normal in life?
Just going back to school, like 100%. Right before we did a weird mix where the second and the third year was online, while the first year was in person. Okay. I have both, so it was a bit of a mess.
How do you feel? Do you feel like nervous, or do you feel this is great? This is good for the children. We've got to get in here. Where do you feel? I mean, you know.
I feel very frustrated. I understand that it's pretty hard for students to be home the whole time and not be able to socialize with their peers, because that's cool too. But going back and forth between in person, then online, then in person, then online, it's really frustrating for them, because they have to they have to rework everything. We have to adapt everything, but they struggle,
and they are in middle school, like they are 11, 12, 13, so it's that weird period where they really need like
group of peers,
and they really need to feel connected, and they act out when they don't know like
absolutely.
I feel that like, because I've been in fandom for a long time, and I think that like it's the same for Sylvia, it can get so much more frustrating when you have like a more quote unquote international culture from having like friends all over the world, and like you really realize like how outdated Italy can be on so many things, socially.
Well, you know? I have to tell you, I love Italy. I love Italians. I mean, everybody should go, because it's just such a wonderful culture. It's just such a wonderful. I mean, I went every year as a child, and I just look forward to it again and again and again. And as a child, And I just love just being around that whole, and it was always warm too because I went in the summer, so that was not fair. You know, I should go in the winter when everyone's like. I want to talk to you again. Will you come back?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because this is not enough. Normally, with two of you, I'd love to talk for like half an hour, but we've finished. But I would just love to. I just touching the surface, and I know there's a lot more fun stuff under there. Thank you very much. It's just really lovely.
Thank you.
Thanks to you.
You're really open. I love that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sarah and Sylvia. It was lovely to meet you. We are going to wrap it up for today. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye, everybody.